my pleasure to introduce Tulsi to everybody. She doesn't need much of an introduction, but it's still ritualistic, so it's my privilege to do that. Tulsi was born in April, is an American Congresswoman, member of the Democratic Party. She's been in the United States representative for Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District since 2013. She's also a vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. Elected in 2012, she's the first American Samoan and the first Hindu member of the United States Congress, and along with Tammy Duckworth, one of the first female combat veterans. Tulsi's been in 2 deployments in Iraq. She served our country more than anyone else I personally know. She previously served in the Hawaii House of Representatives from 2002 to 2004, becoming the youngest woman in the United States to be elected to a state legislature at that time. She declined to seek a 2nd term after volunteering for a 12-month combat tour in Iraq. She returned to the United States in 2006 and worked for the U.S. Senator Daniel Akaka. Then volunteering for another deployment to the Middle East in 2009, she returned to Hawaii. She was elected to the Honolulu City Council, where she served from 2011 to 2012. In 2012, she ran for the open 2nd Congressional District and won the primary with 55%, scoring an upset win over former Honolulu Mayor Mufi Haneman. She won the general election with 81% of the vote, and in the House of Representatives, she serves on the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees. She is also currently a military police company commander with the Hawaii Army National Guard. It's my privilege to present you Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm sure next year, when she's actually running, we should do something to help her. She's one person. She's one person we want to have in Congress for a long time, and I'm sure she'll rise to higher offices.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Tulsi.
Aloha. Aloha. What a wonderful, warm welcome all of you have given me, making me feel very much at home here. A special thanks to Alan and Kusum for opening your home to all of us to celebrate the accomplishments and the leadership of a tremendous woman that we have here in our midst tonight, and who I feel privileged to be here to support and to talk up a little bit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but as a military police officer in the Army, I'd like to say we're kind of law enforcement sisters in some respects.
I can dig it.
All right. It was important for me to be able to come here tonight because of who Stacey is, the leadership she's brought here to the county, and who and what she represents. You know, with all the time she's dedicated throughout her life, throughout 28 years in service in the Sheriff's Department, to be able to have a leader here with her experience, her values, and her commitment to service is really what I think we strive for as we look to what kind of leaders we want to elect at every level of government. You know, when I travel across the country and I have the opportunity to talk with folks, I talk very often about servant leadership and how, unfortunately, our country is facing a big deficit in servant leaders, both in government, unfortunately, in the military, unfortunately, in the corporate America and Wall Street. When you look at many of the tragedies, the hardships, the calamities, the challenges that we face, oftentimes they can be traced back to someone who's in a position of power, authority, and responsibility, abusing it for themselves, rather than focusing on the privilege that they have to be servant leaders, to act in a way that serves the best interests of the common good and those around them. And as I have followed what Stacey has done throughout her time here as sheriff, I met her as she was running for sheriff a couple of years ago, and I had just won that big race in Hawaii and was relatively new to Washington. I heard a lot about what she's focused on, just in a short period of time, and what she's accomplished. You know, not only focusing on mental health reform at a time when we're seeing on a daily basis in news across the country how critical an issue this is, but really seeing how do we address the root cause of these challenges. You know, at the national level, as we're focusing on criminal justice reform, as this is becoming the #1 issue that is bringing together the most radical lefty liberals and the most conservative Tea Party Republicans together, united. You have the Koch brothers and the ACLU united. Seriously, how often are the stars aligned like this? On an issue that affects us all. It's an issue that affects our families, it's an issue that affects our communities, our economy, and really the fabric of our society. When we have the most people incarcerated in our country in the world, what does that say about the kind of leadership that we've had? So the programs that Stacey has implemented here in seeing the people who are coming through her doors and seeing those who need help and who need service, not jail time, and actually getting them the service that they need is critical to making the kind of change that we're trying to do at the national level. We can implement policy changes, we can try to change the laws that have been problematic for a long time, but ultimately it comes down to the implementation on the ground that really makes the ultimate difference. So there are a lot of things that Stacey's done here with the support of her very accomplished husband, Greg, which I won't go into detail, but I think when you look at these accomplishments, they speak to a deeper sense of commitment to servant leadership, integrity, character. This is what we expect of our leaders. This is what we expect of our law enforcement, and it's what I know Stacey will continue to bring to this job as she serves our community here. So it is a privilege as an individual, as a law enforcement sister. My sister is actually a U.S. Marshal, so we've got it strong running in the female side of our family. My brothers are all, you know, making money and having babies. And, you know, they chose different paths in their lives. Nothing wrong with that. But really, truly, it's a privilege to be able to be here to support you and the work that you're doing. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time out and digging into your pockets and providing support here for Stacey. She's not taking this thing for granted. She'll be fighting along with each of you, standing by her side until the very last vote is cast, and we need to make sure that she gets across that finish line.
Yep. Yeah.